Hey guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another review of Black History slash low rated movies month or films month. And this is a low rated film. It's from 1993. It got a 4.0 on IMDb, a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think this movie's half bad. I saw this movie when I was a kid. I love the games, but I don't hate this movie. And that is the live action Super Mario Brothers movie. It's a blast, the Washington Post. This ain't no game, it's a live action thrill ride. And I agree with them. I saw this movie when I was 8 years old on VHS. I didn't see this in the theater because I didn't go to the theater that much in the early 90s, from like 1990 to 1994. I only went very, very limited occasions. And I would have loved to have seen this in the theater. No, it doesn't destroy the games. I know a lot of people hate this movie, saying it's one of the worst video game adaptations ever because it doesn't follow the game. They pretty much stuck to the story because remember the original game didn't have much of a story either. The first three games were basically Mario and Luigi are two Italian plumbers that go down warp pipes and catch stars and mushrooms and kick turtle shells and stomp on Goombas, and they go all the way to the Mushroom Kingdom to rescue a princess from a dragon. That is this story. It's just they added a little bit more things with like other dimensions and dinosaurs, and which dinosaurs were in the Mario games in Mario World, and they just made things different. I mean, this movie had a lot of production problems back in the '90s because it had two directors that were British or whatever that didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know if they were making a family film or a more serious film or like a Blade Runner type film. But I enjoy this film for what it was, considering all the problems it had with production. That Bob Hoskins got injured and the directors and the cast didn't get along, and the film got took so much time and work to work, for it to be finished. But I don't hate this movie. I don't. Maybe it's nostalgia talking, but I would see this over freaking Assassin's Creed or a Mortal Kombat Annihilation or any of the recent video game movies. Even Warcraft. I'll probably see that once for Paula Patton, but this is definitely better for me because it's not a masterpiece by any means at all, but I enjoy the film because I saw this fun film when I was a kid that helped. It starts with the game music from the game. It has a different story, which I'm fine with, but they stuck close to what they could, especially with two directors that didn't even play the games. But I like the actors in it. I like John Leguizamo as Luigi, even though he doesn't have the mustache. Bob Hoskins is a good Mario. Rest in peace, Bob Hoskins. I don't think this is your worst film. You've done worse. You did Son of the Mask. That is your worst film that I've seen because he didn't give a shit. You got the another late great. You have Dennis Hopper as King Koopa in human form, but they made some changes. You could take some liberties with the game, and you got the lovely Samantha Mathis as Princess Daisy. Well, there she is, Princess Daisy. She was also in Broken Arrow. I think she's a gorgeous actress. I loved her sound of her voice in the first Ferngully movie. Has a beautiful voice, and you know me and women. When the woman has a beautiful voice, I just it calls to me like a siren song. And she has a lovely voice. She's a beautiful. They don't call her Princess Peach or Toadstool because Peach wasn't named Peach until like 1996. Yeah, so that was way after this movie. And it's fun. I like the special effects. There's a lot of practical effects in the movie. I think the Goombas and the freaking the whatchamacallit, the Yoshi that looks like a Jurassic Park miniature version of a dinosaur, which is cute. You got a lot of like practical sets and real cars and real freaking explosions. And this movie's not that long. It's only 104 minutes. It's an hour and 44 minutes. Yeah, kind of. It's almost 2 hours, but I had fun. I like the score. I like the soundtrack, especially the soundtrack in the club in the Boom Boom Bar where they have dun, 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 baby. I will stop the world. I love that song. It's a beautiful song, and it's great that it's in the movie. That's in the scene where Mario is trying to take the gem, that the rock around Big Bertha's neck, and also there's everybody want a dinosaur. Everybody want a dinosaur. And I know this movie flopped. It had a lot of problems when it finally got to theaters. It bombed at the box office, like the nostalgia critics said. But I have fun with this movie. I know a lot of people hate it, but this is a low-rated movie that I think is underrated. I'm glad it got a cult following. It deserves it. It's trippy, but it's fun to watch. I watched it every single time, on VHS when I was a kid. I saw it. My dad would rent it at the video store, and I watched my grandfather let me watch a copy of it at home in his house, and then I got the DVD a couple many years back, and I want to get the Blu-ray one day because it's got like a documentary on the production of this film, and I don't think it sucks. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people hate it. I get it. The ratings on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes don't lie, but I'm glad it has a following. It deserves it. I don't think these actors are terrible. The moment that I saw these guys in the film with their freaking costumes from the game, that was cool. They have the stomp boots and it goes, "Bip, bip, 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 bip." And I'm still a fan of the games. Look at this. I love this game. I've been playing this game since January, late January. I bought it at Target for like 40 something bucks with a gift card. And this movie does not destroy the games because I can still play these games and have fun and laugh my ass off with the cutscenes and with the shenanigans. And Mario's my favorite video game character of all time. And seeing a movie of his when I was a kid, I didn't see this when I was 20. I saw this when I was 8 years old, so I was the perfect age range for it. And it was different. Some of the sets look like Blade Runner, and the alternate Manhattan and the fungus and all that. It didn't bother me. It was something different. And at the same time, pretty much, let's face it, even if this movie was a success, Mario would get some crazy freaking successful games after like Mario All Stars in 1993. Because after this, you had Mario 64, which was a huge hit, and I love that game. You had Mario Kart 64. You had the Super Smash Brothers games. You had Mario Galaxy. You had Mario Sunshine. You had the Mario and Luigi games. He just got better and better and better with age, and this movie does too. I have fun with it. I laugh at some of the scenes, some of the comedy bits. I like the action sequences in the film when they're there. I admit that it's not perfect. There are some problems. Like some of the characters, there's so many characters in the movie that are not from the game. So, like Lena, she's never been in the game, so she was kind of a nonsensical character. You could have really cut her out. I mean, she was in the Harry Potter films, so she's not a horrible actress, but you just need a King Koopa and his minions. That's all. You don't need some chick that wasn't even in the game. Also, there's like a subplot with this guy named Scapelli who's trying to take the Mario Brothers jobs away from them. Trying to plumb the city. It's a business asshole guy that he's basically Donald Trump but with a tan. And that's kind of what King Koopa looks like. No disrespect to Trump. I know he's our president now. I'm not going to knock him. And this film takes place in New York City. I'm a New Yorker. I'm always going to have a soft spot in my heart for a movie that's done well in New York. The Avengers, the first Spider-Man movie that Sam Raimi did, Spider-Man 2, the original King Kong, the Beast of 20,000 Fathoms, this movie. It's supposed to take place in Brooklyn. Hey, it's my dwelling place. I loved, Brooklyn when I was a kid, and it's my stomping grounds, and I can relate to it being, not a plumber, but living in Brooklyn, and just there's beautiful girls in the movie besides Samantha Mathis. You got Mario's girlfriend Daniela. I don't know who the actress's name is, but she's a beautiful chick. You got the Brooklyn girls; they're pretty hot as well. It's a fun movie. I know a lot of people hate this movie. Why do I have it? Well, it's part of my childhood. I'm gonna defend this movie. It's a guilty pleasure. I mean it. I don't hate this movie. There have been so many bad video game movies, and considering this was the first live action one that was released in mainstream theaters, there were worse films that came out way after this. Because I don't like the Street Fighter movie from 1994. That movie with Van Damme, it's garbage. I hated it even when I was 9. I don't like the Double Dragon movie. I saw it a lot as a kid because that was before I had taste. It's a shitty film. I like the first Mortal Kombat, but it needed the blood. I don't like Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It could have been better. It's just the killing off Johnny Cage and changing a lot of the actors didn't help. Overbow's films are freaking terrible. Alone in the Dark and Blood Rain and all that. I don't even want to waste my time. Um, or House of the Dead. Ugh, there's much worse films than this. Much worse. I would see this a million times over seeing any of those. And I'd rather see this than Assassin's Creed because it's not a 2 hour bore fest with bad CGI and, terrible fight sequences and shaky cam. This doesn't shake the camera. You can see everything that's going around, and it's a fun movie. I get nostalgic looking at this movie because I'm like, they actually put some elements from the game. They had a fire flower. They had the freaking Babam. They have the music in the beginning of the game, in the beginning of the movie. They have sound effects from the games. That blip, 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 that when they have the boots on, the Stompers. They have the Bullet Bill. They have a place called Thwomps. They have King Koopa. They have the Goombas. They have references from the game. So it's not like it's a complete, like it has nothing from the game. And I'd rather watch this than the new Resident Evil film. I'm sorry. That movie, those films got excessively worse. This was one movie. It has a following and it deserves it, and I'm part of the following. Just like the Evil Dead films, the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. Some films deserve a following because they're so underrated and they were so overlooked and they didn't deserve to bomb because of bad publicity and from two stupid directors, which thank God never did another film again because they were just the wrong choice. You know who would have done a great job with this? That directed not Ridley Scott because he was too big for this movie, but you could have gotten any other director to do this. You could have gotten Joe Johnston or freaking Steven Spielberg or even someone like John McTiernan. I'd rather him do this than some of the films he did that weren't Die Hard. But it's a fun movie. For what we got, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. And I'm glad that I have this in my collection. And I've wanted to talk about this film for the longest time because it gets so much unfair destruction from critics and from thing and from freaking YouTube users. Eye-popping special effects, I agree with that. 1993 and these effects look better than a lot of the shitty CGI I saw last year or in the last 5 or 10 years. A lot of it that was just like it took me out of the film. Here, there's some CG, but it's not that dated and it's actually pretty cool. And I like this practical effects as well. It's a fun movie. I like it. They made some changes, but it's not. It doesn't completely, ruin my childhood. There's films that have done that recently that are much worse. And as much as it gets a lot of ridicule, I think it's underrated. I think if you haven't seen this movie and you love the games, give it a watch. It's not going to kill you. It's an hour and 45 minutes. You can do a lot worse than this, and I will stand by that. So yeah, thanks for watching my review, my defending of this underrated hidden gem from from the '90s that I saw as a kid that I have nostalgia for. I know it's not the best movie in the world. It's definitely not Oscar worthy, but it's fun. It's what I like about the movies when they're different and they do something that's against the norm. And even if it's not exactly like the game, sometimes Monday we probably will get an animated Mario Brothers movie that will be just like the game, and I'll love it. Who knows? I love Lego Batman this year, so who knows? But anyway, thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting. I hope you guys do comment on this movie because I want to hear your thoughts. I know a lot of people are not a fan of it, so but don't be an asshole. Don't troll my account saying you don't have any taste or whatever because I don't want to deal with that. I wanted to do this review for you guys because well, it's a low rated film, so it counts, and I think it's very underrated. It deserves better. I'm glad it got a Blu-ray and a special edition. It deserved it. So thanks for watching, guys, and take care. And I'll see you in the next video.